Ladies and gentlemen, it's not every day we get good news from the Republican Party. Well, what good news am I talking about, might you be asking? Well, do you all remember Ed Martin, the Stop the Steal guy? Or more recently, Donald Trump's unconstitutional POS illegal nominee, Ed Martin, for U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Senator Tillis, a Republican from North Carolina, has officially, thankfully, rightfully, legally, and constitutionally told Donald Trump no to backing Ed Martin's nomination. Let's take a look at this new reporting by The Hill. The article, ladies and gentlemen, is titled, GOP Senator Torpedoes Trump picked to serve as U.S. Attorney for D.C. And ladies and gentlemen, that article reads, Senator Thom Tillis. Senator Thom Tillis, Republican, North Carolina, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, who faces a tough re-election race in 2026, has informed the White House that he will not support Ed Martin, President Trump's choice to serve as U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, torpedoing the controversial nomination. Martin is currently serving as the interim U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia and has been coming under strong criticism for helping to organize the Stop the Steal movement after the 2020 election and for serving as defense counsel to people charged with January 6th related crimes. Tillis told reporters Tuesday morning that he will not support Martin's nomination to remain as U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia because of his advocacy for people convicted of January 6th related crimes. A no vote from Tillis kills the nomination because Republicans have a 12-10 majority on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and all Democrats on the panel also oppose Martin's nomination. The nominee could not advance on an 11-11 deadlock. Quote, if Martin were being put forth as a U.S. Attorney for any district except the district where January 6th happened, the protest happened, I'd probably support him, but not in this district, unquote. Tillis told a reporter the North Carolina Republican senator said he communicated his position to the White House. Quote, at this point, I've indicated to the White House, I wouldn't support his nomination, he said. Martin met with Tillis Monday afternoon in an effort to allay the senator's concerns, making the argument that many people charged and convicted of January 6th related crimes were over-prosecuted. But in the end, Tillis and Martin couldn't see eye to eye on the January 6, 2021 storming of the U.S. Capitol, which forced the evacuation of Senate and House members as they convened to certify Joe Biden's victory in the 2020 presidential election. Quote, most of my concerns relate to January 6th, unquote. Tillis said Tuesday, adding, quote, I think that anybody that breached the perimeter should have been imprisoned for some period of time. Whether it's 30 days or 3 years is debatable, but I have no tolerance for anybody who entered the building on January 6th, and that's probably where most of the friction was, unquote. Tillis said Martin argued to him that some people who were prosecuted for January 6th related crimes, quote, got caught up, unquote, in the crowd that entered the Capitol. Quote, we have to be very, very clear that what happened on January 6th was wrong. It was not prompted or created by other people to put those people in trouble. They made a stupid decision and they disgraced the United States by absolutely destroying the Capitol, unquote, he said. After Tillis announced his opposition, Senator Majority Leader John Thune said there isn't likely a path for the nominee to reach the floor. Quote, I think that would suggest that he's probably not going to get out of the committee, unquote, Thune said. Martin's position as acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia expires on May 20, and if the Senate doesn't confirm him by then, Judge James Boasberg, the chief judge for the for the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, would select his replacement. Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat from Illinois, the ranking member on the Senate Judiciary Committee, said Tuesday that Martin's nomination is effectively defeated. Durbin said the FBI needed to conduct a background investigation of Martin this week for his nomination to proceed, and the decision was made not to move forward given the strong bipartisan opposition to the nominee. Quote, the decision was made last night not to move forward, unquote, he said. Durbin said, quote, in practical terms, unquote, the nomination is dead in the water, unquote, quote, in strict legal terms, he's still interim U.S. Attorney until the end of May the 20th or 21st, and the district court judge then has the option to fill the interim vacancy when he's finished, unquote, he said. Quote, the writing's on the wall. He has some problems in his own ranks, unquote, he added. Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee filed a formal complaint against Martin with the D.C. Office of Disciplinary Counsel in March, accusing him of possible prosecutorial misconduct. Democrats complained that Martin, while in practice, served as defense counsel in several cases related to the January 6th attack and personally submitted a motion to dismiss felony and misdemeanor counts against Joseph Padilla and failed to recuse himself from the case as acting U.S. attorney, creating, quote, an impermissible conflict of interest and an appearance of impropriety by using his new government office to favor his client, unquote. And they said that Martin appeared as a defense counsel for another January 6th defendant, William Christman, a member of the Proud Boys Kansas City chapter who was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison after pleading guilty to obstruction of an official proceeding and threatening a federal officer. Tillis's opposition to the nominee is remarkable given Trump's effort to save Martin by intervening with the Senate Republicans. Trump defended Martin and urged GOP senators to support him in a post Monday on Truth Social. The president argued that the embattled nominee is essential to his healthcare agenda and cited the support of Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Quote, according to many, but in particular Robert F. Kennedy Jr., his approval is imperative in terms of doing all that has to be done to save lives and to make America healthy again. This is a passion for Ed. More so than for anyone that I have seen, unquote, Trump posted. Quote, we are going to take our country back and fast. Ed Martin, Trump says, will be a big player in doing so, and I hope that Republicans, senators, will make a commitment to his approval, unquote, Trump wrote. Tillis said he frequently talks to Trump, but declined to comment on any specific conversation that he had with the president about the nominee. Quote, the president and I talk all the time, unquote, he said. Tillis was outspoken in criticizing Trump's decision to grant blanket pardons to people convicted of January 6th related crimes. Senator Susan Collins, Republican from Maine, said the concerns about Martin's nomination were more, quote, widespread widespread, unquote, than just Tillis. Quote, I think the concerns are more widespread. Senator Tillis talked to me last night following an extensive interview he had with Martin, unquote, she said. Senator John Cornyn, Republican from Texas, another member of the Judiciary Committee, was undecided about Martin's nomination when asked about it Monday evening, noting to reporters that his, quote, paperwork hasn't even been cleared and is not scheduled for a vote, unquote. The Texas senator, who faces a primary challenge from Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, then announced Tuesday morning that he would back the nominee. Quote, when he comes up for a vote, I intend to support him, unquote, he said, adding, quote, I intend to defer to the president on his choices, unquote. Paxton on Monday criticized Cornyn, for trying to undermine President Trump's agenda by refusing to say whether he supports, unquote, Martin. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was honestly really some, frankly, quite positive news for both the rule of law and democracy, as well as the Constitution of the United States. But I do not condone nor tolerate the backlash that Senator Tillis I had to check that really quick to make sure I knew who I was talking about. Senator John Cornyn. Cornyn. I do not condone nor tolerate the backlash from evil Republican dirtbags like Trump. I'm very glad that he originally was going to oppose Ed Martin's nomination. However, I am disappointed that other Republicans pressured him. That is going to do it for today's legal breaking reporting, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy this legal breaking reporting, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Firstly. Secondly, if you want to make sure you're staying up to date on all the things legal breaking reporting wise on the side of politics, please hit the bell icon as well as the all notifications option. The bell icon is located directly below the screen here on the right hand side of the subscribe button. Thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, you guys can also stay up to date on all the things legal breaking reporting wise on the side of politics by following me on my social medias that I will have linked down below. I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, Threads, as well as TikTok. There I will be posting when I've uploaded a brand new legal breaking analysis reporting video to the channel. Fourthly, ladies and gentlemen, please help me reach and achieve the goal of 160 plus subscribers. The reason why I'm saying 160 plus subscribers, ladies and gentlemen, is because right after we reach and achieve the goal of 160 subscribers, we have more subscribers to reach and achieve right after we reach and achieve the goal of 160 subscribers. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, please stay positive, please stay safe, even though I know it's hard for you guys during these unfortunate, illegal, dark-induced times caused by the illegal Trump regime and administration. To stay positive. Believe me, it's even hard for me at times to stay positive. And know that justice will prevail eventually on the correct side of the law, despite Donald Trump and his illegal, unconstitutional regimes and administrations, illegal executive orders, actions, and behaviors. Until my next legal breaking reporting, ladies and gentlemen, I will talk to you guys in the next reporting.